Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. We're talking business and bourbon, and I'm your host, Nick Niehaus. Today I'm talking to Steve Sommers, who's the Executive Director of TEDx here in St. Louis. So Steve, thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah, happy to talk. Well, normally I would ask you, what is the company you work with, right? But I think most people have heard of TED at this point.
You would think.
You would think, right?
Think.
I guess give us a quick explanation for those of us who haven't heard about TED.
Those of you who haven't, I find it's about 40% of, say, educated, like what you would perceive as a college-educated person, have absolutely no idea.
No idea. Because I've been watching TED videos for feels like a decade. I don't know. Has TED been around that long? Or?
Recorded probably since 2007, so a little bit more.
All right, yeah, makes sense.
But it's been around since 1984.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it started out as kind of a dinner party salon sort of thing, and then it evolved over the course of years to being a conference where they would have 700 or 800 people in a room.
Sure.
And through that, they evolved to not having 40-minute talks, but down to the ubiquitous
the
18-minute.
YouTube, kind of segments. Sure.
Because attention span is getting shorter. And then TEDx is a local version. We're a licensee of TED.
Gotcha.
And we've got a region of which we can
kind
explore
of pull from. Gotcha. Yeah. So what is the region here?
So it's kind of the metropolitan demographic area.
Okay.
Like the 2.3 million, the multiple county.
Makes sense. So, greater St. Louis area, so to speak. All right.
So that's originally why we picked GatewayArch to be each TEDx has to be geospecific in its name.
Okay.
So as not to create confusion.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we can't be like TEDx Midwest or TEDx Missouri even.
Okay. So where's the next closest one?
So we are what's considered a level 1 license. It's kind of a bigger one. The next closer
so kind of tiers.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there are probably a dozen small TEDx's in St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Like there's a TEDx Clayton, there's a TEDx Maplewood High School, a TEDx The Loop, and these are all smaller ones that by their license they can't have 100. They can only have less than 100 people. I think they can't charge. I think there's a lot of restrictions.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we support all of those. We help them.
Interesting.
Like with finding speakers, training, marketing. So, but the next one like us would be Kansas City, TEDx KC, which has been around a couple of years longer than us.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us about how it originally started as TED. How did the X come to be? How did they decide to start opening these locations?
So TED, which is Technology, Entertainment, and Design, just to kind of retro back. And so in 2012, I went for the first time to a TED event, and I'd met some of the people who had really kind of forced the TEDx into existence.
Okay.
So the way it happened, and it's kind of fun because it's part of our ethos, is that in 2009, 2010, TEDx's from, I think it was Austin, there was somebody maybe Albuquerque, somebody out of Montana, who was like, we want to do this.
Sure.
And TED's like, well, you can't do it. Like, we do it centrally. And they're like, no, we want to do it. We're going to bring it back to our towns and we're going to do it. And they're like, well, we're not really sure how to do it. We're going to do it next week. We're going to do it next month. It's
just happening.
Yeah. So then TED realized, okay, we got to get some rules wrapped around this because we apparently can't stop it.
Okay.
And for them, it turned out to be just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it brings the brand right to everybody's
Makes
door.
it local, part of the community, right?
And there are people like me with level 1 licenses. There are 500, 600, 700 in the world easily.
Wow.
So every city of any size.
Gotcha.
Has a TEDx.
Well, and that's something I've noticed too when you watch the videos on YouTube is a lot more of them are labeled as TEDx, as opposed to being from the one main original conference, right?
I'm glad that it's kind of shifting.
Yeah. So and you're getting to hear quite a few more speakers now, right? Because you get so many more opportunities. Well, so let's talk about that. How do you guys choose the speakers for the event?
So we've evolved over time. We started out by having a series of mavens. Which it was a word I didn't know at the time. It's a Yiddish word. It means like an expert in a field.
Okay.
So we would have different people who are experts in different areas recommend speakers to us.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's a good way to find people who are doing creative, innovative, cutting edge sort of things. And what we found fairly quickly is that there were really great people doing really great things, but they tended to be in academics.
Okay.
And it was really hard to get them to emote or tell a story.
Gotcha.
Mostly because they already knew what they were doing.
Uh-huh.
So And we have a training process that we've developed that's about
really?
4 months long.
Oh, wow.
That, we work with CocoBiz and we'll train people acting, breathing exercises, body language, how to,
There's a lot of prep. Yeah.
There's a lot of prep.
Interesting.
40 to 60 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And that, not including like home practices.
Yeah. Well, that's something I was wondered about, I guess, because they do seem kind of more rehearsed, more polished,
Because
there's
no
some
notes,
training
no
behind
podium.
there. Yeah, of course.
You gotta just memorize your talk.
You're ready to go when you get up there.
Yeah,
Sure.
and seem comfortable and relaxed when you deliver it.
So that's all training. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And there's a point about not overtraining.
Okay.
And we don't have enough time to overtrain
No, yeah,
anyway.
sure.
But what we've come to really embrace is the idea that once a year we have an open audition.
Okay.
So we'll just put it out that we're going to host and we're looking for speakers. We'll get about, last year I think we had 180 people apply.
Okay.
We've got a team that combs through those to see which do we want to listen to, whose pitch.
Okay.
And then we narrow that down to 30. And then at KDHX historically we go on a Saturday morning and we'll listen to 30 3-minute pitches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it gives you an idea, the kernel of their idea, but more importantly, their ability to deliver.
Gotcha.
So as we can gauge from audience response, like standing ovations and things like that, that our open audition people do much better than. So we still have the Maven system of looking for.
Sure.
And we do have people contact us. I've got people people find out what I do.
Reaching out all the time, right?
So I've come to just say I don't have anything to do with the process.
Yeah, here's the website or whatever,
yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Go apply. That makes sense. Well, so what do you think distinguishes those two? I mean, is it the fact that people had to go through this process? Do you think makes their presentation better, maybe?
Well, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
That they've got buy-in to begin with, right?
Sure.
They're self-selecting.
Gotcha.
And the academics, again, I think just think they know how to deliver information, which is very PowerPoint, very
lecture oriented, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
graphic heavy.
Just not. You usually don't give standing ovations after
No,
a college
and
lecture, right? You wake
really,
up and then you leave.
Be really
cases.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Well, so how do you? So these people are coming in. I mean, one thing I've always thought is interesting about TED is like the kinds of topics just seem to be completely all over the place, right? So do you have themes for each event, or how do you kind of decide what you're looking for?
So we do have themes that the first couple of years I kind of fought against because it just seemed like it's a marketing thing, right?
Sure.
Like our next event is called Crash Course.
Okay.
And it's in a series that we're calling Kaleidoscopes.
Okay.
Right. So we have a marketing firm, 2E Creative. It does in-kind work for us. So they've created like the look of how this season is going to be. And to give you an idea, like working with creatives. So at the beginning of the year, they're like, so we've got this idea. We want to do something with light. You want to do like modulation or, so they decided to go with the collide, like through the prism of, and then from that to the kaleidoscopes.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's fun. Yeah.
So this one is Crash Course. I don't know how or why.
Okay.
But to probably answer the question that you're really asking is that we start with sort of a matrix of a rubric, whatever, of types of subjects. So we don't have a bunch of community stuff or a bunch of ecology talks so we try to diversify.
So there's intentional variety of the speakers.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the subjects.
Yeah. Makes sense. Very cool. Well, so you obviously work with a lot of speakers, probably have some advice. So what would you tell somebody who's looking to get into speaking, maybe more as a beginner? They're just kind of getting started. They know this is maybe one of their dreams to be on that big stage someday.
Wow.
What should they try to do?
That's a good question. I think you should try to become a natural speaker.
Okay.
I don't know how you do that, but try to be comfortable on stage. There are a lot of like small things that I've learned that I find that are interesting. One of them that I think is interesting, I'll do it this way, is the idea of when you're talking to your audience, you look at a specific person until you're done with a point. And that point, then you can move on to someone else in the audience, which is a trick that makes everybody think that you're really communicating
Talking to them.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
As opposed to if you're doing this as you're talking, and then you're taught to look at the audience, but and that's called sweeping. Actually, you don't want to.
You don't want to do that.
Don't want to do
pause
that.
on people. Okay.
Yeah. And then
Very
the
cool.
pause is very important.
Okay.
The metaphor is very important. Yeah. I mean,
No,
there's
that's
a
good.
long list, but
That's good. I mean, I think the idea of even just, I like that, you're kind of speaking to one person at a time in a sense, right?
it engages the audience because you think as an audience, yeah, they're speaking to me.
Sure.
Maybe not at the moment, but maybe you will.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's probably helpful in terms of you have a better sense of how they're receiving what you're saying,
true, too.
right? So you can probably make adjustments
Yeah.
if you need to. We talk a lot in video production about how you need to really be thinking of a specific person because we also communicate better with one person as opposed to a group,
Yeah,
So I think it would probably help there. So yeah, it's good stuff. Well, so tell me, you've seen a ton of speakers. So maybe we'll kind of focus locally, TEDx speakers. Who are some of the people that you recommend, or what are some of the favorite topics you've seen?
Well, one of my favorite speakers, and just because I'm a fan of dystopic material.
Sure. Okay.
A guy named Kyle Ladd, who was the founder of the Zombie Squad.
Oh, okay.
So he gave a talk 6 or 7 years ago. He was extremely nervous. His team didn't think that he could do it. And he went through the months of training, and he delivered this really great talk, I think, that was premised on the, so the Zombie Squad's premise is that natural disasters happen, so you should be prepared for them.
Gotcha.
So to deliver that message to the 30-something demographic, they used the zombie model.
Sure.
And so his talk was it was great. He interweaved the genre with,
Interesting.
with preparation, like what you should prepare for.
Yeah, no, I imagine that was very interesting.
And it was really nice because he did a great job. And at the beginning, we're thinking, oh man.
Yeah.
So
a little nervous at the beginning there.
Everybody's.
Of course, the first minute or two is always kind of uncomfortable, right?
We've almost lost a speaker or two. We had to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Come on, it's time.
We got 18 minutes to talk. That's it, right?
Yeah, your time is coming.
Very cool. Well, I want to ask you about, for somebody out there that's thinking they may want to get more involved.
Yeah.
So obviously you can apply to be a speaker, but you guys are also looking for volunteers for events and things like that still? Or how can people get involved?
So the point of all of this really is to create a community.
Okay.
And our mission is to create an inclusive and equitable community of thought leaders. So we try to be very intentional as to our board, our team, our speakers, and our audience.
Okay.
So if anybody is interested in helping and jumping on, there are ways through the website, and there are plenty of jobs and little pieces that we could always use help with.
I'm sure.
And just ideas and
Very cool. All right. And the website is
TEDxGatewayArch.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Okay. Important to know that. All right, and then in terms of kind of a final question for you is in the next event coming up, give us some of the details. Where is it? When is it?
Even if you weren't going to ask that as a question, that's how I was going to answer.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
We usually end there, right? What's the plug, right?
Exactly. So September 12th at the pageant.
Okay.
So it's the first time we've had an event at the pageant.
Cool.
So we decided to go kind of heavy, kind of entertainment heavy.
Okay.
And we have 4 speakers doing TED Talks. We've got 1 couch interview, which is allowed within our format.
Okay.
1 person being interviewed, and then 3 elements of entertainment.
Gotcha.
So 8 pieces. The doors open at 5. We start at 6 and we'll be done by 9.
Cool.
Yeah. So it'll just be music and thoughts.
It's kind of just mixed together throughout the event.
And the idea of TED, really, of a TED event, is it's kind of an onslaught of ideas and different perspectives. Right. Just kind of open people up to, hey, this is music I've never heard before. I didn't think I was going to like it, but.
Interesting. Yes. If you're looking to experience new things,
yes,
it's a good option for you.
And we do a lot of times. I have people come and say, I came for this, but this is really what I liked.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that's nice.
Unexpected.
It's rewarding. Yeah.
Cool. And just tickets, they get them on the website, or where do they purchase?
Ticketmaster, I think.
Ticketmaster.
But go through the website. Just go to TEDxGatewayArch.org, and from there you'll find find the way.
Everything you need. All right,
Yeah.
very cool. Well, we got a couple minutes left, so that
Okay.
means we're going to bring Eric onto the show. And Eric is
Yay.
the founder of Bourbon Friday, if you haven't met yet. And he always
know
has
each
a
other.
story.
Yeah.
He's always got a story about the bourbon.
Sure.
You know, they
So-
never tells me ahead of time. So
No.
what's the
So
story
this
this time?
is Hulling Station Bourbon by Old Dominick Distillery. And Old Dominick Distillery was started by a woman named Alex Castle. And she actually spoke at TEDx Memphis. So she's a TEDx speaker, so I thought this was a good plug. And certainly,
Well done.
yeah, and certainly her talk was called Whiskey, A Cure for Perfectionism. And the general crux is kind of like, you can do everything you want to do, everything you can to make that right. But as soon as it goes in the barrel, you don't know how it's going to turn out, which is, even like events. You
Yeah.
can do everything leading
Yeah.
up to an event, but you don't know how it's going to turn out until it's right there and that's happening.
Yeah.
Certainly perfectionism, as Nick knows, is a thing I struggle with.
So I didn't know if it was about before it goes in the barrel, after it comes out of the barrel, helping with perfectionism.
Sure.
But it seems like both sides maybe it helps out, right?
Maybe so.
Well, what do we got in terms of events coming up this week?
Sure. On Monday, Josh Malone, the inventor of Bunch of Balloons, which I hadn't heard of, but apparently it has been like the #1 toy for 2 years. It's a $200 million business.
Wow.
Yeah. And what it does is you can fill 100 water balloons in 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen it like on a television show, like some family was using it to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's going to be at TEDx speaking mostly about like his journey through that, but he's had multiple patent lawsuits against people, especially the as seen on TV people.
Uh-huh.
He's had to sue them because they just go and create a product like his.
Rip
He
it
already
off.
had the patent, and so yeah, they're going to be doing a documentary. He's going to be speaking his food and drinks at TEDx. So
Very cool.
that's on Monday, and then on Tuesday, I think you have an event coming up.
Yeah, we're doing the Real Marketing Masterclass at our office. So for real estate agents in particular, but really any small business owner that wants to start learning how to use video to market their business, we do have a couple tickets left. So you can get those by sending us a message on Facebook.
And then on Wednesday, there is the Amarin Accelerator, the 2019 cohort announcement. And Amarin Accelerator is specifically for startups in the energy sector.
Mhm.
They're making that announcement. I think it's like 5 or 6 companies. They get $100,000, 12-week program, and all of that. And that's earlier in the day, and that's at 4240 over in Cortex.
Okay.
Then also on Wednesday night, there's the Diverse Founders and Funders event by Multipass. That's going to be at Spaces in the Central West End. And there's going to be a panel on that. Chisholm, Uche from 630, and Kylie Sommers from Spendet, who've been on the show, are going to be on that panel, as well as Mark Lewis from Biogenerator and Yvette Rodriguez from Cultivation Capital. So definitely go and check that out. I'm sure I'm going to be there. And then on Thursday, Vetra Cafe, this is the Next at 4240 event, which is their larger event. They have multiple food vendors, and this is going to be by EdHub, and it's focused on the urgency of equitable education. So all of the programming is focused around education at that,
Gotcha.
and innovation in education. And then Friday, we're back here for another great Bourbon Friday at Kobo. We had Adam Stump from Stumpy Spirits right over across the river.
Okay.
He's going to be here. We're going to be trying some of his products and
Fun stuff,
yeah.
A tasting episode.
A
Those
tasting
are always our
episode.
favorite, right? You know?
I was hoping to be on the tasting episode.
Well, you're welcome to join
Yeah.
us. You know,
Yeah.
you can come on back through and try some of the Stumpies out. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Well, Eric, as always, thank you for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. Steve, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks
Had a
for
good
having me.
conversation. Definitely. For those of you tuning in, we want to thank you for watching our show here, the Bourbon Friday Show, which we host at Kovo every single week. So thank you so much to Kovo. Thank you to EQ for partnering with us and helping distribute the show. And of course, thank you as always to Vanessa Lobo, my business partner at Connect Marketing, for taking care of everything behind the scenes and always making us look good. Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next Friday at 4:30 for the Bourbon Friday Show. We'll see you then.